All right, we got Jennifer on, Jennifer Garrett, and she's the author of Move the Ball. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. And on here, you won't be able to see. I got a couple of cameras going on, so you won't be able to see. Alan is my co-host, Alan Adams. He's here. He's listening to you, and we're currently live on the Morgan Thomas Show on our Facebook page. Jennifer Garrett is an internationally recognized author, life coach, and motivational speaker with a passion for writing about and helping others. She uses the game of football to show how the principles needed to win football games can be taken off the field and applied to one's career, business, and personal setting to be successful in life. She's completed 7 college degrees, which I thought was amazing when I talked to her, while raising 5 children doing her graduate degrees. And she currently works as an executive coach, a corporate consultant, and a judge advocate in the Army National Guard. So thank you for your service. We are both veterans, so glad to have a veteran on the show to join us. Her book is called Move the Ball, How the Game of American Football Can Help You Achieve Your Life Goals. And we posted about it on the show. We got the Amazon link there so you can check it out and go buy her book there. And she's also got a SoundCloud account so you can check out some excerpts from the book and some weekly wisdom that she has as well. But I just want to get right into it there, Jennifer, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about Move the Ball, and the book that you've written before we get started anything. And tell us, who's your favorite college football team?
Okay, well, I'll start with that one. And I think you know the answer to that. But I am a University of Alabama alum. So, of course, I say Roll Tide first and foremost. So, hopefully, your viewers won't hold that against me since I'm sure most of them are Clemson fans.
We won't hold it against you for being an Alabama graduate or an Alabama fan. So we won't hold that against you. But Dabo Sweeney graduated and went to Alabama, played at Alabama. So we don't
Yes.
necessarily not like Alabama. We just don't not like. Well, we don't like them.
Especially in the playoffs.
Right, right. So just tell us a little bit about your book. I found you on Amazon and I thought that it was really interesting, and it's something that I felt like Dabo Sweeney likes to do, is to kind of take things from football and use it to help people in life.
Yeah, so what Move the Ball is all about is it's an inspirational, motivational book that draws parallels between football lessons and life and shows you how to apply those lessons off the field to be successful in your personal life, in your business, in navigating your career.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we got a couple of questions for you, and we're going to kind of run through it for you. So, what made you pick the sport of football as the framework for the book?
Great question. And it's one that I get asked often. People will ask, how'd you get into football or why'd you pick football? And so I've followed football ever since I was a kid. People will ask me, did you grow up in a football family? Did you have a dad that coached, brothers that played? And the answer to those questions are no. I grew up with 2 parents that loved watching NFL football. So I followed along with my parents and just fell in love with the game at a really young age. And I've taken lessons throughout my entire life and applied them from that game. And so it just made sense to use those life lessons that I've applied and show other people how they can use those to be successful.
And Alan had a question for you as well. Um, Go ahead, take it, Al.
Yeah, so obviously, we know you've helped hundreds of people with with their career by using football. The NFL draft was just a few weeks ago. So, kind of what advice you have for those players who were just drafted?
Another great question. So, being drafted in the NFL is something that people dream of, right? There's so many kids that when they grow up they want to play professional football. So, I mean, it's an accomplishment. So, first and foremost, appreciate that these kids have worked really hard to get to that level. So, they should acknowledge and celebrate that and enjoy the experience. That being said, that can change in an instant, right? The average NFL career is under 3 years. You just never know when you may get a season ending, career ending injury, for example, or a team just decides to cut you. And so, the advice that I have, aside from enjoying the experience, is never lose sight of that and always be thinking about what you're going to do once your professional career is over. Your professional athletic career is over. And so it's something a lot of people don't think about because they don't think it will happen to them as quickly as it does.
And Dabo Sweeney is known for stressing the importance of earning the college degree and doing that before anything else. And he always says the NFL stands for not for long. Coming from somebody who obviously cares about getting an education and has 7 degrees to her name, what are your thoughts on that? Dabo Sweeney stressing that he's one of the most successful coaches as far as getting his players graduated.
Sure. And I mean, he's absolutely right. I mean, your NFL career could be a couple years, it could be 10, 15 years, but A, you don't know how long it's going to be, and B, it will come to an end. That is certain. So having these other skills, having an education helps equip you for a successful career off the field once that athletic time is over. And so I completely agree. I think it's important to get an education. Do you need to have 7 degrees? Absolutely not. Right. But I do think it's important to take that time. And it's easier to go to school when you are in your teens and 20s. So do it then and then worry about professional football afterwards. Because again, it is a job, it's not a career.
And so, what are some of the common struggles you see? We're talking about players going into the NFL and kind of the worries that they have there. But, after the NFL, there's a lot of players who I've noticed it's kind of like leaving the military, right? So you get out of the military, you're like, wow, this is all I've done for 20 years or 10 years or however long. And then you get to the NFL, you get out of the NFL, it's the same feeling. What kind of advice do you have, or what kind of struggles do you see from players that you have mentored in the past?
Sure, you're absolutely right in that it is very similar to military veterans transitioning. You've got this identity that is around your professional playing career. And when that comes to an end, a lot of these players, they don't take that well because you've lost who you are. And so you need to figure out, well, who am I going to be now? What am I going to do with the rest of my time? What am I going to do for a job? I got bills to pay, etc. But also there's that team environment too, and you've lost that team. So again, people struggle with just kind of acclimating back into society. And lastly, I'll say is the structure. When you're playing in the NFL, you have a very structured schedule, similar to the military. You know when you're supposed to be somewhere, right? You know what to wear, when you're going to eat, when you're going to go work out, and all that's gone in an instant. So how do you transition from a very structured environment to now being at home, maybe by yourself, not knowing what are you going to do moving forward?
And I would completely agree. I feel like when I got out of the military, even though I wasn't in for 20 years, that was one of the things. Like you said, you're kind of always around a team. You're always around people who are dressed just like you and who know the protocols and know what's expected and know exactly what to do. And then you have all that structure. My wife likes to joke that what happened to the me making the bed like in the military? And I say, well, what happens is that you get out of the military and you lose that structure. You lose that, hey, have your shoes on the line every night and have your bed made every morning and have everything specifically where it's supposed to be. And you might not lose it immediately, but the further you go away from it, you start to lose those things that have kind of been ingrained in you, and you develop other habits, hopefully good habits. And that's why people will go to you, is to try to develop those good habits. Last question for you. Alan's got it. He's going to ask you about talk about our Brent Venables, our defensive coordinator.
Yeah, so I think most people around the country know that Brent Venables loves to blitz. All right, he likes to bring blitz and bring pressure and all that kind of stuff. So your book talks about the blitz that people experience in life. So tell us a little more about that and kind of give us one thing this week we can use about trying to stave off the blitz in life.
Sure. So in my framework, what the blitz means is it is circumstances, people that are intentionally trying to limit your forward progress. So let me step back a second. The basic premise of the book is that you are the quarterback in your own life. And so you need to really take action to move the ball forward. So while you're out on your own field, you need to be aware of who's out there that may be preventing your forward progress. In the personal setting, it could be people, right, that are jealous or that don't like you and that are taking action to undermine you or sabotage your work. In the professional business setting, it could be your competition, companies, right? What moves are they making that could set you back? So you need to be aware of these other people and organizations that exist on the field playing the game with you. And if you do get blitzed and you get knocked down, then what's important is you get back up. You reassess so you don't play the victim mentality. So I guess that's the one lesson. Don't be the victim. You take ownership over everything that happens, learn from those situations, get back up, and figure out that next game plan to move forward.
Awesome. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us just for a few minutes. It's great talking to you, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. Let our fans know how they can kind of follow you, and how they can keep up with you, and how to get access to your book.
Sure. Yeah. If you just go on social media, most of my social media channels are Move the Ball. So on Instagram, it's Move the Ball. LinkedIn, I'm very active there. Again, just Google Move the Ball and my name, Jennifer A. Garrett. Got to put the A in there. It's important. And you can find me. The book itself is on Amazon, as you mentioned earlier, Morgan. And then there's also an audio book version that is available on iTunes and Audible. And I'm going to continue to put out snippets on SoundCloud from the book and other wisdom nuggets. So I hope people will check those out as well.
Awesome. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much. Thanks for coming to the show. We hope you have a good rest of the night, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much again for having me.